Bruce, these are brilliant ideas, man. I hope you're getting all this stuff. I'm giving them away for free right now. I mean, we're just shooting the breeze. But I mean, that's how I find out or what to talk about. I'll always work it in from a conversation and figure out how I can make it relate. And then basically I'll talk about the floods. Oh, okay. So, flooding's out in California right now. Everybody knows that's a big problem, but there's a way that you can stay calm during a flood. And even if your house is
Need a
floating down
ritual.
the street, just put Calmora on, listen to my voice, and all things are fine.
Beautiful
And you won't become a murderer.
soundscapes from mythology with your
Don't murder,
voice.
Calmora. Eat more potatoes. So, yeah, we can put together a structure, man, whatever you want to do. You have questions you want to ask, or how do
I'm
you want to do it?
I'm
I didn't
following.
even know we were doing
You're
this.
you're
So,
doing an excellent job, Chris, and
oh, thank you. Thank you. I
I
appreciate it.
can see that you are on a super shape.
Yeah.
And I never saw
I
you
mean,
so dynamic, so
it's because I
energetic.
had a procedure done yesterday. I can talk about that. That's amazing, but
Did
it
you
literally
really?
fixed everything. Oh my God. This guy down here named Dr. Dan has an Atlas orthogonal machine. And it's basically this like sonar laser adjustment for your Atlas in your head, the bone that holds up your skull. Well, I had a TBI, which he also confirmed, and my spine was jacked from 25, 30 years ago, but he also could tell that within the last 2 years that I had had another trauma and that it threw my neck out, my head out, everything. And I mean, I've been walking on a cane because my right side of my body didn't work. I couldn't get any blood to my brain. I couldn't feel anything. And my side of my neck, he put this machine on there that doesn't even do anything. It just like doop. And the way it worked, that is absolutely fucking believable. He took x-rays after, and my spine went from like cracked over here with my head tilted and leaned and everything to perfectly straight, perfectly balanced. And I mean, instantaneously, I felt relief, felt blood flow. I feel more energy than I've ever felt. I feel alive. I'm not walking with my cane.
You're not working with your can anymore. Seriously.
No,
Pain is so
15
cool.
months. I know I got to keep it, right? I
Are
can't
you at
give it
least
up. It's kind
carrying
of
it
my,
with you?
I mean, at this point, I feel like it's an obligation. I have to carry it. I'm literally like the most famous cane person other than Willy Wonka. But how amazing is that though? That I mean,
That's
like I am
amazing.
now energized, my body feels alive, and the guy who did it, it's a $1,200 process to go through. I knew about it, but I couldn't. The VA doesn't cover it, so I had to wait until I found somebody who would do it for free. And this guy has a nonprofit that he just started for vets that has got funding, and he's ready to do as many vets as he can. And he needs me to bring more vets in, so I'm the poster child for his company, and I'm down in South Florida right now, and I can't tell you, I feel better than I felt in 15 months. First time I've been able to think clearly, see clearly, walk fine.
That's
I
so
don't know,
cool.
like maybe that's what
So,
that and NAD
what is your
peptides,
technology? Is it lasers?
Atlas, Atlas orthogonal is what it's called. There's only 10 of them in the world. And one of them just happens to be right here. Four of them are in Florida. But it's a cool machine. I can send you guys pictures or something. I'll get ready to post about it. Well, I was until I got interrupted for this.
So sorry. It's my fault. It's my fault. I didn't read the day.
It's all right. Don't worry about
I
it.
got
I'm fine.
online. I got
But
done
anyway,
up, and then I got online, and I was like, "Where is everybody?" And I looked, and I was like, "Oh my gosh."
wrong day. No worries. It
So,
works
so,
out. I'm
so you're
actually
saying
sitting in front of my
the
computer. So,
progress of technology are quite surprising. Would you
oh my gosh.
associate this kind of technology with biohacking? I know you have been on in some conferences about
Yeah,
this
it's actually
technology.
exactly what it is and where I got it from. So I actually went down to the Biohackers World Expo and Conference down in South Beach a couple weeks ago, which is where I found Dr. Dan with the Atlas machine. And he was the one that said he could fix me. He said, "You're a half inch shorter on the right side. Are you aware?" I said, 100%. I can't feel the right side of my body. And I'm literally leaning on a cane the whole way around the floor. And he's like, "Man, I can fix you." And I was like, "Well, I don't have the money and the VA doesn't cover it." He goes, "Well, it just so happens last week I started my own nonprofit and I'm looking for veterans to, so maybe we can post an ad on Calmora on the veteran page to be able to get
Yeah.
people's awareness and attention because he's looking for people right now." And he had one of his clients come in and it changed his life so much. The guy handed him a check for $300,000 and said, "Heal as many veterans as you can. Let me know when you run out," basically. So, like, it's, yeah. So he's funded. He's got a whole thing ready to go. Veterans can get it for free. He's got his nonprofit, so maybe we can link him on Colmora and Driftly because he's also going to be
Send me
Vets
the
to
link.
Yoga.
I'll incorporate it.
Okay, perfect. And that way we can advertise there and tell people to go to Colmora, sign up on Colmora, and then they can also get part of this. So I think that's going to be the collective thing is getting the veterans to utilize her apps, my app, and then reconnecting them to the different nonprofits that are out there that are there's no real search engine for help when it comes to veteran nonprofits. And
Hmm.
that's kind of what Vets to Yoga is becoming, the community organized of all of the nonprofits for vets in one place. So it's kind of what I see as the solution. We have to come together on this stuff. We can't keep working individually. And the nonprofits have been fighting this battle for a long time, and they're all out there working individually, and nobody's pulled them together. So I think putting an ad on Colmora would be huge, and Driftly also, obviously. But and I can do a little voiceover thing and everything else if you want.
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
And Bruce
Yeah,
will
and I think
translate
it'll
it
be good
into
to put
all
it on
nine
Driftly too.
languages. Yeah, Bruce speaks like 12
That'd be
languages.
so cool.
I can forward on a next level channel if necessary
He
as
can be
well.
our translator, translate to physics. Do you know how smart Bruce is? Do you even know what his book's called? I can't even talk. I can't even speak his language. Bruce is so smart.
He's a pretty brilliant guy. He mentioned his book to me, and we were talking about
It's
putting
like
that on
that thick.
Well,
That's
Colmora
all
as
you need to
well.
I
know.
would be
Hmm.
quite glad to because you were mentioning biohacking and I think the guy that you mentioned with this machine seems to be a very interesting person. I would be super
Mhm.
glad to invite him on the podcast. He has a lot to say,
Sure.
most likely.
Yep.
My
I'm gonna have him
specialty.
on Sunday, so
Sorry.
I'll send him your way after. I'm gonna have him on my podcast Sunday,
Oh,
so I'll send him
I
your
will
way
listen. Oh
afterwards.
yeah, with great pleasure. Hmm.
He's a really nice guy, a veteran also, and he found the machine and it saved him. And then he was so impressed by it, he went back to school, got his doctorate, and got certified
Stop
in it, and
it.
now he's
Wow.
offering it for free. Yep, that's an amazing story, an amazing guy. He also used what's called a PEMF, maybe a pulse electromagnetic for it's some new table that you lay on that does like I'll have to look it up real quick, but it was really cool. And it's another new technology part of that biohackers conference that I went to and got met all these people at. So yep,
I wouldn't
biohacker.
hide that when I saw the post on your Instagram, Chris, about biohacking, I was slightly skeptical because I'm cautious and careful about what they pretend to do and what is
Mm.
effectively doable. But when I see the results on you about this particular machine, the Atlas, and knowing your condition before this intervention, I couldn't hide that I'm super impressed. Like, sounds like something.
And certainly that's appreciated. And also everyone else that's seen me and talked to me since then, which had only happened yesterday. And I was in a neck brace up until just a few hours ago. I said the same thing. They're like, you look better, awake, alive. I'm like, yeah, I'm not in tremendous amount of pain for the first time in 15 months. Every day, all day, man. It was so terrible. So, like, yeah, there's a lot of snake oil stuff out there and a lot of people that are selling, cons,
Placebo
but the stuff
effect.
that, yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, you tell somebody it works and they'll believe you.
Hmm.
So it's just, it's how the pharmaceutical industry became a thing. So I agree. I'm right there with you, Bruce. I know how you feel about that stuff, but this one works. This one is definitely real.
This one, I mean, I'm open-minded no matter what. That's the only way. And it's not only the fact that you don't walk with a can anymore, it's as well the blood circulation feeding the brain, which is from now on allowed and propelled. I see your energy and I see your frequency as well, which is totally different. Like you're not struggling anymore. It sounds like your energies goes even faster than you.
That's correct. You're absolutely right. Now the blood flow that's getting to my head is actually coming back down, so the vagus nerve is no longer blocked, and neither is uh, major veins, arteries that are coming out of your brain. And this, so your brain detoxifies itself and gets rid of all the toxins when it dumps that stuff. Well, mine was all pinched inside of two bones. So all the toxins that I had in my brain, thank God there's not a ton because I don't take in a lot of things, but are now releasing into my system, and it's just process. It's cleansing, it's cleansing, and now the blood flow. I can't tell you how much more energy you have when you're not spending it fighting pain all day.
Mm.
But now I just have this excessive amount of energy, and I also have a lot more blood flow to my brain, which I've practiced breathing exercises for so long to basically manage the amount of pain I was dealing with so that I could function, that now that I'm doing those same breathing exercises out of second nature, it's just fueling this machine that doesn't need it as much fuel anymore. So basically, last night I was laying there going, I should probably go to sleep. It's 3 o'clock in the morning and I feel wide awake, but I have so many things I could do and my brain's working clearly. And I don't know why I go to sleep right now because I've been in pain for 15 months and I want to be awake and I want to do stuff and I want to, and it was like, okay, I'm going to explode, but obviously I have not. And so I'm very excited about that. But I can't tell you, I highly encourage if anybody's out there struggling, this machine can fix everything, like the symptoms of a number of major issues that I had were all fixed in a matter of moments by this
Wild.
process and these amazing people.
We're gonna enter the year of the horse in Chinese zodiac quite soon, which is really a sign of fire. And interestingly enough, the every China sign is associated with an element. Every 12 year, the element is changing. And this year gonna be the horse of fire. In order that you can imagine the kind of frequency that we are going to enter in during this year, in Chinese antiquity, they used to assassinate all the babies which were born this year because they knew that when growing up, these kids and when becoming adults will be like out of control and super rebel. So it's clearly a year of very strong, deep energy, rebellion as well. It's gonna open a lot of doors, energetic doors, and yet how to manage all this energy, how to balance that. So Kris is a yoga master, and yoga is all about that, how to balance the energy, how to harvest some body energy points, frequencies, and use it for the best. But as a complement, relaxation appears to be something fundamental. Um, we have some high, and we need some down to recover already all the informations that we welcomed during these high ventures, all those actions. So we are here to talk today about these apps, and we're gonna talk about the app of Tanya Victoria Galmora, because everything started with that. And we're gonna talk about the app of Kris. Maybe Tanya, could you tell us your background, like where you come from? You're a veteran, and how did it happen that you started to build this app, Calmora, and then you had this meeting with Kris?
Well, my background is a little bit of a wild. I don't think we have enough time for all of that. But my background is I've done a little bit of everything, Bruce. I am not a developer. I I've been in the military. I served 8 years. I've been a flight attendant. I've worked for the UFC. Pretty much anything I've done it except for woodwork and metalwork. Um, so my background is very vast. I have four kids, two different generations, if you will. I have a 21-year-old and a 14-year-old now, and I have a 5-year-old and almost 4-year-old. So started over. Um, I'm a very busybody. I love going. I love accomplishing. I love learning. I love doing all of the things. I want to learn everything. I want to experience everything I can while I'm here in this body. So I kind of got to the point where I was starting to get burned out, and I don't usually get burned out. So I sat there thinking, is there something I can use that can help me organize, that can help me kind of come together and pick what's a priority, what's not a priority? Can I schedule things? And I was looking on all of the apps that are available, and they do have some really cool tools out there, some meditation apps and things like that, but it was all very clinical. And I'm a super emotional being. So I'm very in touch with my mood, how I'm feeling, how others are feeling. And I think everything comes down to more than just the situation. And it's about how we're feeling. So when I couldn't find an app, I decided to look up to see if I could develop an app. I don't know where that came from. I'm not a technical person by any means. I work for the Department of Energy, and I am the report girl. So I do all of the financial reporting and what we're achieving and all of that good stuff. And now I maintain our portfolio, but by no means technical in any way, shape, or form. So I created it. I
Well,
started throwing it together, and I was like, wow, this is actually really neat. And it's kind of beautiful. And I started
Technically,
using
from
it,
now on,
and I,
if I don't get wrong, there are some possibilities to build an app with the assistance of AI, and it's pretty easy and pretty quick.
yes,
I
yes.
never tried by myself, so you know much about that. What would you say? Would you confirm?
Absolutely. Copilot has become my best friend. I actually have a name for her. And that's just because I accidentally had her on. So I don't know if you know this, but when you're using Copilot, it can either be in chat format or it can be voice. So voice to text. And I had this, hello, Tanya. Hey, how's it going? Come on. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is my tool, my new friend Shaniqua. And my husband thinks I'm crazy. He's like, you shouldn't spend so much time talking to AI. But yeah, Copilot was a huge tool that I had to use, helping me with my ideas. Like, I want this to be the visual. Help me figure this out. Help me create the visuals. Copilot helped me create a lot of the visuals that are on my app. So yeah, AI was a huge player in it. Um, and then the way that Kris came into it was I used to do minky blankets. So with selling, when you run a business for selling, you have to network. So I had, I used to have some influencers for Minky in order to try to get out there. And I was like, well, I know there's a way to do this with my apps where I can reach more people. And Kris happened to be one of those individuals that I found that I was like, I love what he does. He aligns with what I'm trying to do. He's a vet like I am. I want to reach vets. And Kris was one of the ones, it's one of those ones you throw the noodles and you hope they stick and you don't really expect anything. And then Kris came back full force, like, let's do this. Let's run with it. I'm gonna help you with ideas. And he's just been a huge support and backbone, honestly, for the development of Kalmora and Driftly and where I've gone. And then he introduced me to Joy to help build the vet side of it. And it's just become more than I could ever possibly imagine having that partnership with Kris.
I would like to make a little comment about Kris, about what you just said, Tanya, because it was the same for me. Um, I don't have much time to do my podcast. I'm not as productive as Kris, but oftenly canvassing and trying to find out some viral guests to my podcast. And often, or most of the time, when the guys are running several millions of followers, you try to you send messages and you call them, and there's no answers. And I was at the time something around 60K on my Instagram channel, so I wasn't happy, and I sent a message to Kris, who answered me and was like exactly as you say, Tanya, like totally welcoming. And Kris, you do that like systematically, like, and you're one of the rare podcaster which doesn't care about the audience of your guests, but it's all about your inner feeling, what you feel emotionally about the person.
I mean, that's just how I live my life, and I appreciate you guys saying such calm things or kind things. But I'm just a person that believes in people, man, and I want to give everybody a chance to really tell their story because I think everyone is a teacher and a student, and there's nobody out there that doesn't have life experiences to offer the world. And if you're willing to listen to people, you usually will find out that they're far more interesting, far deeper than they usually come across on the surface level. And so my whole goal in life, or my basis for success, is simple. How many people can I help in this world? And the beauty of that is that Zig Ziglar said a long time ago, if you help others reach the top, inevitably you're going to reach the top with them. And so it's just something of a, I don't even think about it. It's just if I see somebody who's doing something authentically and it's genuinely for the right reasons and they're genuinely trying to make a difference in the world, I'm going to support that cause no matter what it is, because I may not understand what they're doing. And I have a lot of people that talk about things that I'm like, that sounds great. I mean, I supported it, like you definitely are into it, but I have no idea what you're talking about. And so that's something like I don't need to understand it. I just need to know that they are authentic about what they're doing and that they're doing it for the right reasons. And if that's what you're doing, to me, the amount of followers you have or what's out there that's going to make it popular and heard more is irrelevant. I mean, really, I don't, like you said, I pay no mind to that nor any attention to it. It's not something that I think of. And the reason for that is I've been around a long time, right? I'm not a young kid. I've watched people that I used to discount or people could discount as only having 60,000 followers go on to become multi-million follower people who have blown up. Actually, I'm one of them. So, there's a lot of people out there that are asking me to be on their shows now that back in the day, I was asking for their attention. They weren't interested. So I think it's important to invest in the person and the concept of what they're doing as long as they believe in it. But also, what are we doing here if not to help people? So if I can give someone a platform or help them get their voice heard or help them get their product acknowledged, especially something like Calmora, which is an absolutely brilliant app and a beautiful place for people to go find peace and serenity. And I think we can agree that everyone in the world right now needs more of that. I mean, there's just violence, chaos, negative separation, division. Uh, we have to get back to sitting still and being with ourselves. And I teach that meditation is taking yourself on a date. And I ask people, would you take yourself on a second date after you meditate? And most everybody I ask goes, no, I wouldn't. Like, I would not take myself back out on a date. And I go, well, that's why you're single. Or that's why you should be single, because you have some work to do. So it's, to me, meditation is a way of life. It's something that's not an option. We should mandate it. It should have to happen. My favorite line from people is, "Oh, I can't meditate. I can't sit still." And I'm like, that's like saying I don't go to yoga because I don't stretch or I'm not flexible. Okay, but isn't that kind of the idea of going so you can gain more flexibility? So, like, to me, the people that say I can't sit still, I can never meditate. Those are the people who need it the most, and they honestly don't do it because they don't like who they are as a human being, and that's not a diss or a knock. I used to be that way. Until you get comfortable with who you are, you don't want to spend time with yourself alone because now you got to face yourself. And if you don't like that person, then you're not going to be very excited to do that. So as you get to learn how to be okay with who you are, and not only that, love who you are, then you're able to love other people in a healthy way where you can provide them the proper love and attention they need instead of just giving them attention for the sake of attention or to appease them. And so I appreciate you guys being so kind with your words, but in reality, all I'm doing is what I believe everyone else should do, and I treat people the way I want to be treated. And I've had enough people turn me down over my life that I know that I'm not going to do the same thing to anybody else. And I host people that no one's ever heard of because I think they're interesting and inspiring. So that's what matters to me. Hopefully, everybody else agrees. And so far, it seems like there's a lot of people that do. So
Love that.
Well, this inclination to meditation is most likely one of the reasons for you to reach this very special spiritual level, Kris. I have no doubts about that. And as you were saying so rightly, there's a difficulty in Occident to meditate, to put down ourselves in silence, in calm. And I agree that a lot of tools which are here to assist us to find a better way, a better grip to relax ourselves. I wouldn't give any name for those apps, but you were mentioning, Tanya, that, and I agree with that, the approach is very clinical. It's an approach of the body. And one of the peculiarities, which are, in a matter of fact, so interesting, Tanya, in your app, is that the approach is through the emotion, the emotional realm. And that's so true that this emotional balance, how to deal with traumas, stress, and all those thoughts which are related to some specific frequencies. It's an energy realm. It's not only mechanical. It's not only the matter of the body. Here to appear and arise with uh, eventually even more strength when we are facing ourselves. People would do anything to avoid their soul because they will have to face their genuine emotions. So, Tanya, did you manage to assist and accompany people to deal with their own emotions on their way to reach some stillness?
So, and it's when we mention the emotions and the like accepting ourselves, the biggest thing for me is when we think of moods or emotions, usually there's stigma with them, right? Um, Anxiety, overwhelm, numbness, all these things we don't want to acknowledge. We don't want to accept the fact that maybe I'm feeling this way or this is a part of me right now. And my biggest thing with addressing the emotions was first check in with how you feel and accept that, not fix it. We're not trying to fix you because there's nothing wrong with you and how you feel. And I grew up with a lot of experience of, well, you must be in a bad mood because you're quiet. And so then it became, well, I have to be bubbly. I have to be happy and bouncy because I am a happy, bubbly person. Um, but I learned that it was okay to accept that maybe I am a little overwhelmed today. So what? Let me think on it. Let me have a cup of tea. Let me just have a moment. I'm now able to tell my kids, hey, mommy needs 10 minutes. I just need to be driving in the car, just thinking, relaxing. You guys do you. I'm going to do me. I just need to be. And so I wanted to put that into the app in the sense of tell us your mood. And instead of us trying to fix you, we're going to offer you different options and how you can pause, how you can be still. You can choose it through movement if you want to do stretching. You can do it through, now we have a breathwork page where you can literally just sit in silence, or you can push play on the music and the soundscape and listen to it. You can sit there for 5 minutes. You can sit there for half an hour. And then we have rituals. So the rituals, what they are, it's not what it sounds to some people. I had to explain this to a lot. People think rituals and they're like, oh, so you do like spells, and it's literally just a practice. So in the ritual sense, I'm going to make myself a warm drink and sit by the window. For some of the rituals, it is that. Have a warm drink, don't just drink it, sip it, experience the taste, experience the steam coming up to your face, feel that moment and be aware of your existence, and don't think about anything else. And so that's how I try to lead everyone in their calmness. Is there's multiple ways to do it. There's no wrong way and there's no right way, but there's multiple different ways to help guide them in that, right? And I'll say, I, of course, use my app because why wouldn't I if I'm trying to help others with this? And when I'm outside, it's wild how shifting it can be. I go outside now, I have animals. So if you don't know this about me, it's not just potatoes. I have a cow and I have a sheep and I have a bunch of ducks. And it used to be such a chore going outside and feeding the animals. And now I go outside and I feed the animals and I feel the wind hit my face differently. I hear the rustling of the leaves. I just feel the sun, the warmth of it hitting me differently, all because now I'm learning to just be still in the moment. And that doesn't mean you have to sit and meditate in the traditional form. It just means being still, just existing and being okay with that.
That's a really good point. And to point out some things that Tanya was just talking about, and Bruce also you said earlier, like you do have to have the balance. It's good to be busy, but I think our society has become addicted to being busy, and people are so busy that they think it's actually a quality to be busy. And I don't think that's the case at all. Like you should really not be so busy, because if you really simplify your life down to what it takes to survive and be a human on this planet, you need food, water, shelter. And after that, you have a whole lot of time. So if your life is so busy that you can't fit somebody in the next 24 to 48 hours, then you are obviously living in a crazy mind space to put yourself in that position where you believe that you have to be that busy in order to make it in the world. And that's why people get into that position of, I can't meditate, or I don't want to stop and calm down. I don't have time to meditate. Meditation is simply sitting still. It's all it is. And you're not, there's a lot of marketing out there and a lot of promotional stuff and a lot of people making a lot of money off of something that is really simple. So what I like about Calm Aura is that we kept the whole thing simple. When Tanya and I were putting together the text and the voiceover stuff, she gave me a lot of content to be able to use, and it wasn't meant to be technical or complicated. It was just meant to give people something to start with. And that's really what we need to get back to. People should be glorifying the fact that they have a lot of free time, because that's ultimately the only currency that matters in this world. And if you're really successful, you're not busy, you're actually free all the time, because that's what we're trying to get to, aren't we? Retirement. Don't we all want to be in a position where we don't have to do anything ever? So, like, it's funny to me that people, when they're asked what they're doing, think that busy is the right answer. In reality, that just means you're a workhorse and you don't know how to manage your time or your life. And now you're in a position where you have to work all the time. So, this is where that balance comes into play. It's great to be driven, it's great to be motivated, but is it something of an option too to maybe sit still and to leave a couple hours a day out of your 24 hours that you have for yourself? And I don't think people are doing that. I think that's why they're out of balance. And I think that's why the world's scrambling to stay busy, even though nobody's accomplishing anything. Call me crazy. You guys know how much stuff I'm working on any given day, but I have a lot more stuff in my life than I know most people do. And I still find a lot of time each day for my own personal self. And that's how I keep my balance in my life. And I believe this app and what Tanya's put together, as well as AI and as well as my contribution, has Mercedes. It's magical because of the simplicity of it. We need to get back to being simple. We need to get back to understanding how easy life is. When I spent 3 months in South America with no power, no internet, no electricity, and nobody who speaks the language I speak, I had 23 hours a day to do whatever I want. And you know what I did? I skipped rocks, played in the sand, watch the clouds go by, went looking for animals. That's what I did all day, every day, because that's how boring life is until you start adding in the stress of what you put into your life. But once you get to a certain point, we're not supposed to keep going. There needs to be a balance. So that's what we're trying to do is give people a place to start that. Now, they're not going to become master meditators on Calm Aura. You're not going to become a grandmaster of meditation, but that's not necessary. You don't need to reach that level you to be happy and peaceful in your life. You just need to start out with an hour a day doing nothing. And I think if people just started that, maybe using Driftly, which is the other app that Tanya has, which I'll be the voice of soon. And that one is great for that purpose, like just simply taking time in the morning to make sure you have a routine that involves you, taking time for yourself. Everyone just wakes up, checks their phone, looks at how many things they have to do that day, skips the gym, skips taking care of themselves. Out the door we go. Next thing you know, they're home tired, exhausted, stressed. And guess what? That's where your body creates an acidic environment, which creates disease. That's why we have a sick population. That's why people are running around like mad. And, we've got to get them back to grassroots. You should be able to take 5 deep breaths before you make a decision. So, like in Idaho, where the guy who killed those students, I mean, he's in the news right now. We were just talking about him earlier, but this guy could have calmed down. Maybe he could have found some peace inside himself. He could have maybe like thought about what he did before he did it. And I know it's an extreme example, but it's also an example. So where's that line get drawn? Because I know for me, if I don't allow myself to take the time out each day that I need for me, I'm no good to anybody else. And also, I basically become the anger that I don't want to have. And that's where I shed that every day. So it never builds up to a point where I ever burst. And that's what people need to get back to. And that's what Calm Aura, Driftly, and Tanya is all about.
It's funny you mentioned that because with the calmness thing and the like, when you let it build up, I can absolutely relate to that too, in the sense that as a mom, I have a lot of patience, but I'm human, right? So I get those moments of pent up frustration and I just can't anymore. And now knows my answer. No, no, no. And I find that when I do take that time, 10 minutes in the middle of the day, I'm just going to take a break. Things shift dramatically where I have so much more patience because I've collected myself, I've collected my thoughts. I've been able to come back to myself and center myself, and game over from there. Patience of a goddess at that point.
Well, they say you can't undo a decision made in anger, and
100%.
that shows the dog jumping after the bird off the cliff. And it's like, that dog jumped to its death because it chased the bird off a cliff, and the bird could fly and the
Yep.
dog can't. And so, any decision we make in those state of minds, an emotional decision will be the wrong decision. And then we have to go back and live with it, which becomes heavier on our lives and becomes heavier on us. And then we either have to go admit that we were wrong and own it, or we've got to carry it for the rest of our lives, because until you actually confess the fact that you made a mistake, you deal with it forever. And it's like those types of things add up over the period of a day when you do it 3 people a day for 10 years. Now you've got 3,000 things that you're literally mulling over that you could have done better had you taken a breath.
Such a shape, Kris. You're offering such an insightful content today. Thank you for that. So we are not here with this app talking only about how to sleep, how to find enough stillness, enough calm that we eventually cure this disease, which is insomnia, which is something quite heavy to deal with. We're talking here as well about mental health. Many people are struggling with pills, antidepressants. They are trying to solve the stress issues, and there's so much neurosis, light psychopathic behaviors, and you were mentioning there's a dramatic incident, Kris. If I do understand well, Tanya, the functioning of this app, if I feel extremely sad and depressed, I will I will say it to the app, and the app will assist me on the way that it would consider that today, especially, I'm super sad, and the voice of Christopher Pace, will accompany me through this journey to find some a bubble of silence, this fresh air inside of myself with some kind of a guided meditation. Am I correct?
Exactly. So, especially if you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling down, if you're feeling, like I've mentioned earlier, numb, sometimes we feel like we're not feeling anything. And I think that's one of the most scary places to be when you're like, now I don't feel anything. And like the situation that we discussed, he might have been to the point where he was feeling numb, right? Like, I don't feel anything, I don't care. And you sign on, and definitely you have to listen to it. When you sign on immediately, you hear Kris's voice introducing you to the app, and it's calming. It makes you want to go further. It makes you feel steady. It makes you feel present. And then when you get to the guided portion and you go through either a ritual or even a gentle movement, you have the music and it's guided and it gives you ideas to work with, and it does give you that guided meditation or that guided ritual, and you can take what you want from it or you can take the whole thing. Kris even mentions in his voiceover, you can be here for 5 minutes, you can do the whole cycle, whatever suits you. And I can say when I've signed on feeling not my best, I usually sign off feeling a sigh of relief. Now, this is not, it's not medicine. It's not a fix. So it's not going to be a magical, oh, now I'm rainbows and butterflies if I have felt depressed. But it is something that acknowledges, because that's the first step, right? Acknowledge I'm depressed. Acknowledge that I don't feel so well today and accept myself in that moment, and you center yourself and you're able to make better decisions when you're in that moment instead of, say I am depressed or I am frustrated and I'm in denial about that, I'm not going to make good decisions. I am going to keep fueling myself with that depression and with that frustration, as opposed to addressing it, acknowledging that that's how I feel, and then taking that breath. Because breath itself, right, is healing and is definitely something that can calm you. So, yeah, it is meant to help you address and accept and to help you feel better, but it's not in any sense like a fix or a prescription is the word I'm looking for. It's not a prescription. So it's definitely more of a humanized um, approach as opposed to any sort of fix. So just, hey, so you're depressed today. Let's sit with that. Let's feel it and let's move through it.
Of course, a great deal in Occident is to acknowledge the emotions, and we have this, I would say, toxic tendency to consider ourselves as a mechanical being, as soon as we are as much emotional beings, and the ability to acknowledge that. It sounds wonderful and original, and yet once you find your way to be slightly balanced, and that you can add new communicate, exchange, share, and link with others, you will have this will to somehow build a community and find like-minded people, people which are feeling the world and the way you are. And that's leading us to this app, Kris, that you just built, and which is, in a matter of fact, all about that, how to build a community and connect with people. How does it look like?
Well, so I mean, to me, the biggest problem that we have as a society is our lack of unity. And we are called the United States of America, which is, I believe, our strength when we're united. But the division that they've created by causing all these different categories and terms and names and words and sexual preferences has caused us to really weaken ourselves and make ourselves a lot more susceptible to any number of problems or issues. So, to me, the veteran epidemic that we have in America, with 22 veterans to 44 veterans a day that commit suicide, uh, the first real solution that needs to happen is building a community, and you have to have access to people who understand you, people who have been there, people who know what you're going through, and a place to talk about it and feel safe. And so, Vets to Yoga, the app that I've gotten all the way developed and ready to roll, and is actually being rolled out right now as we speak, is basically set up to build communities. And each and every one of the organizations out there that wants to have a community, like you can have one, Bruce, for your community and call it whatever you want, Bruce Newman's community, and you will have your own community on the app where you can check in with all of the people who are your supporters, your team, your community. And each day you can make sure that everybody's having a great day. You can see what's going on in their lives. You can check their birthdays. You can see, give them routines. They can go on there and they can look up different ways to calm down if they need. If they need help, they've got access to help. And so this app is basically developed to bring people together as a community and unite people so that we can get back to being what we need to be, which is a unified country. And to save veterans' lives, we've got to give them access to other veterans and people that understand them. So this community that I've built or had built to be able to house such a thing is really taking off, and people are very excited to be a part of it, and they are stoked by what's going on there, but it's not enough. It's not going to be the end all be all. It's going to take other apps like Tanya's apps as well as other people's products that they're working on to make this a success. And so no one person can fix this problem, and no one who thinks they can is going to fix it. So we've got to get back to unifying people. Vets Yoga app is out now, and I am selectively bringing on the people that I believe will fit with what we're doing, but also at the same time, it's open to anyone who wants to build a community. And as long as they follow the guidelines and rules, you can have your own community, and it has nothing to do with the vets, or it can. There's a lot of options. So I just believe that community is the most important thing. Obviously, us finding ourselves through meditation and through learning to be calm is essential. People tell me that my superpower is that I am perpetually calm and that my voice is healing due to the vibration or whatever that I speak at. Now, I obviously have no say so in how my voice turns out, right? I didn't wake up when I was a kid and go, I'm going to do voiceover work when I get older. That's not a thing. So it is what it is, but I utilize what I have, right? And so, like, I'm never going to run a marathon. I'm too big. I'm not going to be that guy. So that's not my strength. So I'll let other people do the running. I'll do the talking. But we've got to get people back to unification, bringing people together, stop dividing. So while everyone's working on dividing us up into as many categories as they can, I am doing the opposite and getting rid of those categories and bringing us all together. And that's fundamentally the idea of what I believe will heal the earth.
So we can heal the earth with the verb, the intention, um, but with a frequency as well. And we have been, we just received last time the band Mythology, and you've been producing this track, and it has been released in some peculiar frequency, 111 hertz. Would you like to talk about that?
Well, without taking away any of Hope's beautiful work, Hope Mercedes of Mythology, the song Brother was written at 432 hertz, and that is the heart healing frequency that she used to make the song. And she has become a student of frequency, as am I, obviously, when you work in the frequency field or the health and wellness industry, yoga. Everything is a frequency, everything is basically vibration. And even the mass that we think that we see is not really air actually there, it's just a bunch of air. And we manifest and make it into what we want it to be. So the life that we're living is exactly the life that we choose to live. And we have figured out and people know about frequency now, and we now understand more about it. So why not create music that heals? And you can't stop it, can't help it, can't resist it. It's going to heal you whether you like it or not. And put that out there instead of doing what the government and CIA figured out a long time ago, and that's releasing low vibrational music to keep people from healing so that we remain sick. And that makes a lot of sense because if you want to make money, you want to destroy or break people so that they need you. If you want to not make money, then you heal people and you get rid of that whole process. And so I'm not into it for the money. I'm into it to help people. And that's my success level. That's what I base my life off of. And so if I found healing frequencies and then found an artist that's able to manufacture those frequencies into the music to create healing music, to me that's a huge win. And that's what we should be looking into is basically, we can't control what music does to us when we listen to it because it's already penetrating our body. So that's the only form of health and wellness that we really don't have the ability to stop it from happening other than changing the station or listening to something different. My goal and my hope is that people will spend their time listening to me, Calmora, Hope Mercedes and Mythology, or anyone else who's doing helpful healing work with frequency, music, vibration. Those people are the ones we need to be listening to each day. Those are the people that are going to give you the positive results. Those are the people who are going to make your life better. The other music that's out there that's drowning our society in illness and sickness is the stuff that we need to stay away from. And I don't have any hate nor animosity towards the people who make the music that they make, but I certainly don't think that it's the only way we should go. I think we should also be looking in balance, like we talked about earlier, of having some healthy healing music in people's lives. So that's kind of what we're working on project wise, and also creating some stuff that's going to be advantageous for the upcoming United States National Championships that I'm holding and the future of the yogasana sport in America as well as in the world. So I think it's all one big collaborative effort to create a more healthy world and heal the people and the earth.
You have a foot, Chris, in the musical community, and you are connected with a lot of artists. You did present to me, mention me before we start this podcast, two artists. One was Whiskey and Rolls, which was pretty country, and the other, I don't remember the name. He's doing some featuring. It's a very important American artist. You will forgive my ignorance. He seems to be a very important American artist doing some featuring with Eminem. Which is your relationship with those two artists, if I may ask?
I was talking about is I actually have this season of Conversations with Kris, my podcast, which is actually, I think we're on the seventh season now. So this season, I'm actually doing my season is called Frequency Walkers. And it's basically the people out there who are making music and doing things that are healing and healthy for people and trying to make a positive impact in the world using their music. The people that you're referencing, I had Edward Crow, who is the manager for Yellow Wolf, as well as J. Michael Phillips and Huntley on my podcast. And he's an amazing human being. The guy is absolutely next level. He's also the owner of Murder Cigars, which is the new cigar company he just started, and he's got it out there. And so the stuff he's trying to do in the world is all very positive, very healing, very healthy. And these artists that he's working with are so talented and they make such beautiful music, but their backstories are what really inspires me. And so as I'm learning about them and I'm seeing them on and I'm talking to them, I'm seeing that what they went through and where they are today. And it just keeps validating that I know that if you just wake up tomorrow and have a positive attitude, that you can make a real difference in your life. And even if you spent 8, 9 years in prison and just got out, you don't have to be stuck by that. You can change. And so there's some stories that are going to come out this season from some of these artists who are next level inspirational. And these people have been through absolute, complete, horrible stuff. And yet here they are writing about love and about God and about helping others and about making the world a better place. And it's so inspiring to me that I have asked, actually, we've come together and just made a deal that Murder Cigars is going to sponsor this season of Conversation with Kris. And Edward Crow is going to help me to put together the guest and organize it all. And so he's going to actually play a role, and we're going to have a really cool, like symbiotic tie-in relationship, which is going to be beautiful and fun, and also really hopefully helpful to everybody out there. So make sure you guys check out these musicians. They're actually on tour right now, the 45 tour, which I'm going to go check out a concert here shortly. Yellow Wolf and J. Michael Phillips are touring all over the Southeast, I guess. And you can get tickets still. They're still available. So
Sounds so interesting, and you know how much the way you're conducting your business sounds inspiring to me, Chris. You're doing such a wonderful job, and the way as well you're managing your energy throughout your interactions with people, always transfigurating whatever a moment could be awkward or ambiguous or with a tension or stress, and switching it into joy and laughter. And that's marvelous. I wish I could have this skill. I'm maybe slightly dull sometime. But it leads me, you're talking about sponsorship. And as far as entertainers, podcasters, influencers, we are dependent from sponsorships, but yet I had this discussion with John Lee Amade, who's the hip hop singer, the other day. He invited me on his channel, and I was mentioning just by curiosity what was his opinion about, for instance, we're talking about ethical business, inviting alcohol brands to support us as sponsors. And he couldn't express a straight opinion as far as he had a lot of difficulties to escape from drugs, and on his surrounding there's a lot of people which are broken by alcohol, but yet uh, I couldn't consider that alcohol is necessarily a lethal weapon, and by myself I'm a good amateur of vodka and tequila or other alcohol, but I know how to drink. So what would be your feeling about that, Chris, and Tanya as well? How much could we allow ourselves to invite alcohol brands to be our sponsors? Would it be ethical or would it be dangerous for our audience? Would we push them to get drunk and get lost on their lives?
You want to go first, Kris, or do you want me to?
Honor to
here,
me.
let me go
I'll go
ahead and
first.
let me go ahead and say my 2 cents on this. So alcohol is something of a crutch or an escape, and I think we all know how I feel about alcohol, seeing as how my brother was just taken by alcoholism. But it doesn't mean that it's an evil thing. It doesn't mean that it's something that you can't do. It doesn't mean that it's something that you can't have in your life. But it all comes back to that same thing we were just talking about. How in control of your emotions are you before you drink? Are you taking time to know yourself before you drink? Are you okay with who you are, or are you drinking to escape that person? And I think it's important that we recognize that alcohol isn't the evil thing here. Alcohol is the tool that people use to escape the reality that they don't want to face. That's the same reality that they face in meditation. You can drink if you meditate. I think there should just be prerequisites to drinking. Maybe you have to learn how to have a meditation practice first. But all I'm saying is running away from your problems and your issues and running to alcohol is not healthy. But if you use alcohol as a way to escape reality when you are in a good place, then it's fun and people have a good time. So I think it's really just about how you're using it and do you have the balance you need. Don't have control of your emotions when you're sober. You're certainly not going to when you're drunk. So, as far as podcasting and as far as that kind of thing goes, obviously, I just accepted a cigar company to sponsor my podcast series. So, I have no issue with alcohol, cigars, the things along the lines of that nature. I just think that they should be used and not abused, or used correctly, in the sense that if you are comfortable with who you are and you're not using it to run away from life, then you're in a good spot. Tanya?
Say I probably piggyback a lot on that point of view. I've come from a background of issues with I've seen a lot of loved ones who have had substance abuse with drugs as opposed to alcohol, but then also married to someone who was an alcoholic and didn't realize it and is living a much healthier, more balanced life without drinking. And escaping that. But again, it's something that was, I think we're in kind of a society where alcohol is such a norm that it's become routine. And now we're also getting into a point where those who have grown up were celebrate alcohol, sad alcohol, bad news alcohol, dinner alcohol, and so we're kind of getting away from that because for me, my concern with alcohol is it is poison. We're literally poisoning ourselves intentionally. That's not to say that I haven't also enjoyed a couple glasses of wine and had a good time with others who are having a couple drinks, not drinking to blackout, not drinking again, like Kris said, to escape our feelings. Because usually, when you drink, you're increasing those feelings of darkness and doubt and hurt. So, as far as myself being sponsored by an alcohol company, I don't really know that it would match my branding per se. But at the same time, who's to say that somebody's ritual isn't a bubble bath with a glass of wine and that's them relaxing
Let's
and
say
calming
that
down for the day?
let's say that Tanya, a champagne brand, would intend to sponsor you. What would be your feeling?
Again, like Kris said, I don't think I could say no, because it's just one of those situations where I have to weigh, it has to make sense. They have to approach me in a sense, like I said, where maybe it's okay, well, we want to have a glass of champagne and have a gathering where we're all just being. And that's okay. Now, if it was a party scene or a disco with champagne, a bottle of champagne, it really wouldn't match my branding and it wouldn't really match the intention behind Calmore. It's not very calming to be at a disco with a bottle of champagne. But if it's a mom at the end of the day putting her feet up with a glass of champagne and she's opening Calmora to just relax, then why not? I mean, it just has to be in the right taste. It has to be the right approach. I want it to fit the intention of helping, not receiving the branding or the sponsorship just to receive sponsorship. I want to make sure it matches and aligns with what I'm trying to help people with.
That makes so much sense. And thank you for this words of wisdom, Kris, as well. Understanding that the alcohol is not the issue, it's the relationship that you have with yourself, which is the deal. And alcohol is an external element. What is the next step? We are evolving through this turbulent times. The year of the horse could be gonna be extremely energetic. How gonna be this year? Which are our goals?
I think most importantly, if people prioritize themselves first, realizing that you cannot pour from an empty glass, then they will find that they have a lot more energy in their lives and a lot more to give people than they think, because you really don't have to be the most dynamic or spiritual or well-trained or intelligent like you, Bruce, person to make a difference in the world. You just have to care. And first and foremost, you've got to care about you, because you can't take care of yourself. You're not going to be able to take care of anyone else. And I think the problem that we're running into is that, again, we talked about it earlier, community and bringing people together and unity and unification is strengthening, and that's going to bring us a strength and make us powerful as a human being, as a country, as a world. Dividing us up and separating us into categories makes you alone and isolated. And those are usually the people that you find that drink, and they drink a lot because that's why they're drinking, is they're alone. But they don't realize that being alone and then drinking creates a personality that doesn't want to be around people, which creates this vicious cycle and loop. So, again, I believe if people would get back to the concept of the mindset that they need to prioritize themselves and be still and take time to learn who you are, address your issues, deal with those. If you need help, Bruce is a coach. I'm a coach. Tanya will coach you. We got to come on, Betsy Yoga, build a community, but we've got to start spending time making time for ourselves first and foremost so that we can help others. Because right now, I don't think people feel like they have anything to offer anybody else because A, they're so busy, and B, they're not sure who they really are. So, how could they ever offer someone anything? And so that's why the people that we see are, we're losing people left and right because of the fact that we don't stop and take. And I wish people understood that every time someone asks you, hey, you got time this weekend to get together? And they know I'm too busy. Well, that person may not be in a good place. And so they might have been reaching out because they needed to talk to someone. And so don't be too busy for the people around you because you just don't know who's struggling and suffering and going through what they're going through. Take a minute, take a minute, take a minute, take another minute, take an hour, like prioritize humans, prioritize people, prioritize community before you prioritize everything else. The rest of it's going to come. You'll find money, you'll find all the other things that you're looking for. But in reality, if you prioritize yourself and then prioritize those around you, the earth and our communities, our country, and everyone else becomes better. But if we continue to prioritize the things that we prioritize, we're always going to be chasing something that doesn't exist. And therefore, disappointed in ourselves because we didn't get it, which causes you to use substance abuse, right? This is why my brother was isolated too, and alcohol became his only consult, and that became a very unhealthy situation. So get back to prioritizing you, get back to unifying each other. Let's stop arguing and all come together on the ideas and the concepts that we believe in. And if we don't, it's okay to disagree, but don't have to be angry about it.
Sounds lovely. Thank you guys for this wonderful. It was such an inspiring episode. So much things has been said.